The sterile scent of antiseptic clung to the air as Ethan Caldwell stepped into the hospital lobby, his polished shoes clicking against the linoleum floor. At 38, he was a man who commanded attention, tall, sharply dressed, with the kind of quiet confidence that came from building a tech empire from nothing. His face, though handsome, carried the weight of years spent chasing ambition, lines etched around his eyes from too many late nights and too few moments of joy. Today, he wasn't here for business. He'd come to visit his old mentor, George, who was recovering from heart surgery on the 5th floor. A quick in and out, he told himself, a gesture to honor the man who'd given him his first shot in Silicon Valley. The elevator dinged, and Ethan stepped inside, his mind already drifting to the board meeting he'd rescheduled to make this visit. But as the doors began to close, a flash of movement caught his eye. A woman rushing toward the elevator, her arms cradling a small child while 2 others clung to her sides. Her hair was a mess, her face flushed with exhaustion, but there was no mistaking her. Those green eyes, the slight tilt of her chin, it was Lily. Ethan's heart lurched. He hadn't seen her in 7 years, not since their breakup had left him hollowed out, drowning in regret. He jammed his hand against the door sensor, holding it open. Lily. His voice came out softer than he intended, almost a whisper. She froze mid-step, her eyes locking onto his. For a moment, time seemed to collapse, the years between them dissolving in the fluorescent light. Ethan, she said, her voice steady but guarded. The triplets, 2 boys and a girl, no older than 3, stared up at him with wide, curious eyes. The girl clutched a stuffed rabbit, one ear missing, while the boys gripped Lily's hands tightly. Hi. Ethan managed, his throat tight. I didn't expect to see you here. He glanced at the children, his mind racing. Triplets. She'd moved on, clearly. Built a life without him. The thought stung more than he expected. Lily offered a small, tired smile. Yeah, well, hospitals aren't exactly planned destinations. She shifted the girl in her arms, who whimpered softly. We're here for Mia's checkup. She's been sick. Ethan's gaze darted to the girl, Mia, whose pale cheeks and heavy eyelids told a story of their own. Is she okay? He asked, stepping out of the elevator, letting the doors slide shut behind him. She will be, Lily said, but her voice wavered, betraying the weight she carried. It's been a long road. Leukemia. She's in remission now, but we're here for tests to make sure it's holding. The word hit Ethan like a punch. Leukemia. He looked at the triplets again, their small faces so alike yet each distinct. The boys, with their tousled brown hair, seemed healthy, but Mia's fragility was unmistakable. I'm so sorry, he said, the words feeling inadequate. If there's anything I can do. Lily shook her head quickly. We're managing. Thanks, though. She adjusted Mia in her arms, the boys tugging at her jeans. We should get going. Appointments in 10. Ethan nodded, but something held him back from turning away. Can I walk with you? Just to the clinic? He didn't know why he asked, only that he couldn't let her disappear again, not yet. Lily hesitated, then gave a slight nod. Sure, if you want. They walked in silence through the bustling hospital corridors, the triplets' small footsteps echoing alongside Ethan's steady stride. He stole glances at Lily, noting the changes time had carved into her. She was still beautiful, but there was a hardness now, a resilience that hadn't been there when they were together. Back then, she'd been a dreamer, an artist with a laugh that could light up a room. He'd loved her fiercely, but his drive to build his company had consumed him, pushing her away until she'd finally walked out, leaving him with nothing but his success. So, Ethan said, breaking the silence as they neared the pediatric oncology wing, these 3, they're yours? Lily's lips quirked, a flicker of amusement. Yeah, mine. This is Mia, and these are Leo and Noah. She ruffled the boys' hair, and they grinned up at her, oblivious to the tension between the adults. They're beautiful, Ethan said, meaning it. How old? 3.5, she replied, her gaze softening as she looked at them. They keep me on my toes. Ethan nodded, his mind doing the math. 3.5 years. Their breakup was 7 years ago. These kids weren't his. She'd clearly found someone else not long after. The thought twisted something in his chest, but he pushed it down. Their dad must be proud, he said, fishing, hating himself for it. Lily's expression faltered, her eyes clouding. He's Not in the picture, she said quietly. It's just us. Before Ethan could respond, a nurse called Lily's name from the clinic door. She straightened, her focus shifting entirely to Mia. We've got to go. It was good to see you, Ethan. Yeah, he said, his voice thick. You too. He watched as she ushered the triplets inside, the doors swinging shut behind them. For a moment, he stood there, rooted, the hospital's hum fading to a dull roar in his ears. He should have gone to see George, but his feet wouldn't move. Instead, he found himself lingering near the clinic, his mind a tangle of questions and regrets. An hour later, Ethan was still there, seated in the waiting area, scrolling aimlessly on his phone when Lily emerged. The boys were chattering, but Mia was asleep in her arms, her small chest rising and falling. Lily looked drained, her shoulders slumped under an invisible weight. Ethan stood, crossing the room before he could second-guess himself. Everything okay? He asked. Lily sighed, brushing a strand of hair from Mia's face. Tests look good so far. She's still clear, but they want to keep monitoring her closely. It's a lot. Ethan nodded, searching for the right words. You're doing an incredible job, Lily. I mean it. They're lucky to have you. Her eyes met his, and for a moment, he saw the old Lily, the one who'd believed in him when he was just a kid with big dreams. Thanks, she said softly. I should get them home. They're exhausted. Let me give you a ride, Ethan blurted. Please. I've got my car out front, and it's no trouble. Lily hesitated, her gaze flickering to the triplets. Leo was tugging at Noah's sleeve, whispering something that made them both giggle. Okay, she said finally. That'd be a help. The drive to Lily's apartment was quiet, punctuated only by the boys' occasional chatter in the back seat. Ethan's sleek black SUV fell out of place as they pulled into a modest neighborhood, the kind where kids played in the street and laundry hung on balconies. Lily's building was a weathered brick structure, its paint peeling but the steps swept clean. Ethan parked and turned to her. Can I help you get them upstairs? She studied him for a moment, then nodded. Sure. Thanks. Inside, her apartment was small but warm, filled with colorful drawings pinned to the walls and toys scattered across the floor. Ethan helped settle the boys on the couch with a cartoon, while Lily carried Mia to a tiny bedroom adorned with star-shaped nightlights. When she returned, she looked at Ethan, her expression unreadable. You didn't have to do this, she said. I wanted to, he replied, shoving his hands in his pockets. Lily, I've thought about you a lot over the years. I messed up. I know that. She crossed her arms, leaning against the counter. Ethan, that was a lifetime ago. We were different people. I know, he said, his voice raw. But seeing you today, with them, it's got me thinking about everything I got wrong. I was so focused on building something big, I forgot what mattered. Lily's eyes softened, but her guard stayed up. You got what you wanted, though. I saw your name in Forbes. Tech's new titan. You made it. Ethan let out a bitter laugh. Yeah, and for what? A big house I barely live in? A schedule that doesn't let me breathe? I'd trade it all to go back and fix things with you. Her expression shifted, a flicker of something. Pain, maybe, or regret. Don't say that, she said quietly. You don't mean it. I do, he insisted, stepping closer. Lily, stop, she cut him off, her voice firm but not unkind. Ethan, you don't know me anymore. You don't know my life. These kids, they're everything to me. And they come with a lot of baggage. I don't care about baggage, he said, his voice rising with a desperation he hadn't felt in years. I just want to help. Whatever you need, money, doctors, anything. Lily's jaw tightened, and she looked away, her fingers gripping the edge of the counter. It's not that simple, she said. You can't just swoop in and fix everything with a checkbook. I'm not trying to. Ethan stopped, running a hand through his hair. I just want to be here. For you. For them. She studied him, her eyes searching his face as if looking for the man she'd once loved. Finally, she sighed. There's something you should know, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. The triplets, they're not mine. Not biologically. Ethan blinked, his mind struggling to process. What? They're my sisters, Lily said, her gaze steady now. Clara died 2 years ago. Car accident. She was a single mom, and the kids had no one else. I took them in. I'm their guardian. Ethan's breath caught, the pieces clicking into place. The exhaustion in her eyes, the fierce protectiveness, it wasn't just love. It was duty, sacrifice. Lily, he said, his voice breaking. I had no idea. No one did, she said, a sad smile tugging at her lips. I didn't exactly broadcast it. I was teaching art at a community center when it happened. I quit, moved here, started over. It's been hard, but they're my world now. Ethan felt his chest tighten, a wave of emotion crashing over him. He'd spent years chasing wealth, power, control, while Lily had given up everything to raise 3 children who weren't even hers. The contrast was staggering, humbling. You're incredible, he said, his voice thick. I mean it. What you're doing, it's selfless. Lily shrugged, brushing off the compliment. It's just what you do for family. They stood in silence, the cartoon's cheerful music filling the space. Ethan's mind raced, searching for a way to bridge the gap between them. Let me help, he said finally. Not with money, though I can, if you need it. But with time. With them. I want to be part of this, Lily, if you'll let me. She looked at him, her eyes wary but not closed off. Why? She asked. Why now? Because I've spent 7 years regretting losing you, he said, his voice raw with honesty. And seeing you today, seeing what you're carrying. I can't walk away again. I won't. Lily didn't respond right away, her gaze drifting to the boys on the couch, now giggling at the screen. It's not just about me, she said finally. It's about them. They've lost enough. I can't let anyone into their lives who might disappear. I won't, Ethan said, the words a promise. I swear it. Over the next few weeks, Ethan kept his word. He showed up at Lily's apartment with groceries, helped with bedtime stories, and learned the triplets' quirks, Leo's love for dinosaurs, Noah's obsession with puzzles, Mia's quiet strength despite her illness. He didn't push, didn't ask for more than Lily was ready to give. Instead, he listened, learned, and slowly became a fixture in their chaotic, beautiful world. One evening, as they sat on the floor building a Lego castle with the boys, Mia curled up in Ethan's lap, her stuffed rabbit tucked under her chin. Lily watched them, her expression soft but conflicted. You're good with them, she said quietly. They make it easy, Ethan replied, ruffling Mia's hair. And you make it worth it. Lily's eyes glistened, and she looked away, blinking rapidly. I'm scared, Ethan, she admitted. Letting you in, it's a risk. I know, he said, his voice gentle. But I'm not the guy I was back then. I've got a lot to make up for, and I'm starting with you. With them. The turning point came a month later, when Mia's latest test showed a potential complication. The hospital bills were mounting, and Lily's part-time job as a freelance illustrator barely covered their basics. Ethan didn't hesitate. He called in favors, connected Lily with the best pediatric oncologist in the country, and quietly paid off the outstanding bills. When Lily found out, she confronted him, her eyes blazing. I told you I didn't want your money, she said, her voice shaking. It's not about the money, Ethan shot back, his own frustration bubbling up. It's about Mia. It's about giving her a chance. And yeah, maybe I'm selfish, because I can't stand the thought of losing any of you. Lily stared at him, her anger softening into something else, something vulnerable. You mean that? She said, not a question. More than anything, he replied. She stepped closer, and for the first time in years, she let him pull her into his arms. It wasn't a grand gesture, just a quiet moment of trust, but it felt like everything. Months passed, and Ethan became a constant in their lives. He scaled back his work, delegating more to his team, and found joy in the small things. Leo's triumphant roar when he finished a puzzle, Noah's shy smile when Ethan praised his drawings, Mia's growing strength as her health stabilized. He and Lily grew closer, not rushing but rebuilding. Their connection deeper now, rooted in shared purpose. One crisp autumn day, they took the triplets to a park, watching them chase leaves while sitting on a bench, their hands brushing. I used to think success was about power, Ethan said, his voice low. But this is what matters. You taught me that. Lily smiled, resting her head on his shoulder. We're teaching each other, she said. As the sun set, painting the sky in hues of gold and pink, Ethan felt a peace he'd never known. He wasn't just a millionaire anymore. He was part of something bigger, something real, a family forged not by blood but by love, kindness, and the quiet power of humanity. And for the first time, he knew he was exactly where he belonged.